Students, this is continuation in lesson number 3, theories of employment and income. Now we are going to study classical theory of employment and income. So there is no single theory that can be said as classical theory of employment and income, because there are many economists. Okay, many economists have given their views. Adam Smith, the father of economics, he wrote a book in the years 1776, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of Wealth of Nations. Since the publication of this book, many followers, those who have given their ideas in economics, considered as classical economists. Okay, among them David Ricardo, J.S. Mill, J.B. Say, A.C. Pigou. They spoke about this employment and income, the relationship between employment and income. So according to them, they assumed there will be full employment in the economy. That is, they assume first full employment in the economy, and wage and prices are flexible. Wages and prices are flexible, and there is a competitive market existing in the economy. That means government does not interfere on the market activities, on the market forces. Okay, so there is a free market economy, it is laissez-faire economy. These three things is to remember very well. That is, there is full employment exists in the economy, wages and prices are flexible, and the third one is competitive market existing. That is, only market forces, they help to fix the price level, that is price mechanism. Okay, so other words we can say it is a laissez-faire economy. Okay, so the J.B. Say's law of market is the core of classical theory of employment. Okay, so now we will see what is the Say's law of market says. Okay, so he said supply creates its own demand. I repeat, supply creates its own demand. That is, according to him, production takes place. Okay, production takes place. They supply goods and services to the household. Okay, production takes place in firms. Okay, and they are household. Okay, so production takes place. So entrepreneurs pay reward to the factors of production to the household. Household receive income and they demand goods and services. Okay, so every commodity that is produced in the economy will find equivalent to its value all the other commodities produced by others. For example, if one person produces something, his production will find equivalent to the value of his production all other commodities needed by him. Okay, that means the total production is equal to total income. I repeat, total production equal to total income. So this is the core of J.B. Say's law of market. Okay, and then it was based on aggregate investment. Aggregate investment is equal to aggregate saving. Okay, aggregate investment is equal to aggregate saving. Okay, so this holds good only in exposed sense. Okay, because it is simply an accounting identity. But J.B. Say's law of market, that says in ex ante sense. Okay, now we will see what are the assumptions, Say's law of market. Okay, so the first one is no single buyer or seller or even input can affect the price of the commodity. No single buyer or seller or any input can affect the price of the commodities, and there exists full employment. And third one, people are motivated by self-interest. That self-interest determines the economic decisions to be taken in the economy. And laissez-faire policy is essential for automatic and self-adjusting economy. Okay, so that full employment equilibrium can be maintained in the market. Okay, do you understand? Laissez-faire policy is essential for automatic and self-adjusting economy. Okay, market forces will determine everything right in the economy, and there is a perfect competition exists both in labor market as well as in the factor market. Okay, in the factor market and commodity market, sorry. Okay, factor market is, under factor market everything sold out. Okay, labor, land, everything, machinery. Okay, so there is a perfect competition under both the markets. Okay, and then there is a wage price flexibility. Seventh point is money acts as a medium of exchange. Okay, that is money cannot function any other thing, only as a medium of exchange it is used, and it is based on long run analysis. Okay, overproduction is not at all possible, and then underutilized resources will be used until they are fully employed. So there is no underutilized resources or unutilized resources. All the resources are fully utilized. And then no government interference, and there is interest flexibility where saving is equal to investment. These are the 12 points given in your book. Okay, very clear, you can read out. Yes, full employment, there is no general overproduction, market forces, free market economy, no government interference, laissez-faire policy, there is interest flexibility, there is wage price flexibility, saving is equal to investment. At that point interest is fixed. These are all assumptions of Say's law of market. So what are the implications of the Say's law of market? That is, they don't keep idle money at all. So according to J.B. Say's law of market, people don't keep idle money at all. It is used for exchange. So money acts as a medium of exchange. Okay, so there is no overproduction. Overproduction is not at all possible, and no unutilized resources are also. So these are all implications. Now we will see the criticisms, that is J.M. Keynes has criticized J.B. Say's law of market. He not only criticized, but he has given a modern theory of employment and income that can solve the problem of unemployment. So by keeping these assumptions, what happened? Say's law of market. Okay, so all these 12 points, it has ended with a glut in the market in 1930. That was nothing but the Great Depression that had met in the worldwide. So at that time only J.M. Keynes, John Maynard Keynes, he has given his theory of employment and income. Okay, so the criticism of this J.B. Say's law of market. Okay, the first one is Keynes says supply creates its own demand is not at all possible. That is because what happened, it is not applicable where demand does not increase to the level of production. Okay, when demand does not increase to the level of production, supply cannot create its own demand. It is only first step is demand. Okay, next step is supply. But here classical theory, they have gone from supply. Supply creates its own demand. It is not at all possible. And the automatic adjustment cannot solve the problem of unemployment. So here they thought that automatic adjustment can solve, okay, can bring full employment, they thought, classical school of employment. But Keynes has criticized this theory and he said self-adjustment in the market cannot solve the problem of unemployment. For the problem of unemployment, there should be an increase in the investment. Only when investment increases, employment can be increased. Okay, so to this classical school of thought, they thought money is neutral. Okay, but what is the criticism? Individuals keep money for meeting unforeseen expenditures, and business people keep money for any further future activities, economic activities. Okay, so we think about a firm and a household only. Individuals keep money for unforeseen expenditures. They don't spend all the money, whatever is earned. Okay, that's what here classical school of thought, all the theory of JBC was based on that only. Every money earned will be spent on purchase of goods and services in the economy, but people keep money for future uses. Okay, this is the criticism. Okay, overproduction is not at all possible. So full employment is a special case. It is not happening always. Full employment is a special case. It is because in capitalist economies there is underemployment. You know what is underemployment? They get employment, but they don't produce anything extra, that is more than what is needed. Okay, number of laborers, how many number of laborers are needed to produce something? Okay, if more number of laborers are employed and they are considered as employed, but they don't produce anything, that is their marginal productivity is nil, zero, sometimes negative. So that's what Keynes says. Okay, so that is in capitalist economies their underemployment exists. So full employment is a special case according to J.M. Keynes, John Maynard Keynes. Okay, and the need for government arises when there is a problem of unemployment. Okay, here they thought that government need not interfere to solve the problem of unemployment. Here they said there is no general overproduction, there is no unemployment at all. There is full employment exists in the economy, but Keynes says full employment is a special case. There is unemployment. Only if there is an increase in investment, unemployment can be removed. Okay, then autonomous investment he speaks, as we will study that in the other lessons. Okay, that autonomous investment, how government has to invest money in order to bring employment. Okay, so there is a need for government in case of unemployment. This mass unemployment can be removed, okay, only when this government interferes.